Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. I'm Shahzadi Samra for the course of African Literature for Master's program, and the course code is 4117. So today again our topic is The Lion and the Jewel by Volsoenka. And in the previous lecture we discussed about the plot overview, the major characters, the themes of this work, and what kind of work it is, as Volsoenka has been recognized as one of the most talented of 20th century writers, as Nigerian writer, and who was the Nigerian writer, and who is the one who won the Nobel Prize in 1986 for the first time in the African literature. So this work is about Nigeria, that was before independent, and there are many things. So today we'll discuss the symbolism in the lion and the jewel. So what about the symbolism? I have already taught about I have already told you about the symbolism, that how it was originated in the at time when we were talking about Chinua Achebe. So I will just give a brief overview. So as it is like a organized literary and artistic movement, the French poets, they started it, and in 19th century, late 19th century, and the reason for the arrival of this movement is that many poets they thought that the artists were not given much freedom. So in order to get freedom of expression, and they started this movement and spread to painting and theater as well, and also influenced the European and American literatures of 20th century. So the expression of individual emotional experience through highly symbolized language, so subtle symbols as well. So the use of and expression of meanings by using different symbols is called symbolism, and that symbol can be any object, any person, any situation, or any event which can have a deeper meaning in context. So many of the works like the 20th century works, they are repleted with this symbolism. Symbolism is, you may say, the most important and significant technique, and Achebe also used many symbols to describe the situation, and Volsoenka also used many symbols to describe the prevailing condition, or to describe the the condition of Africans, or traditional things, or the westernized things, etc. So the jewel, first one, as it is also in the title, the lion and the jewel. So the jewel is basically the character, that is the city, that is the village ballet, because of her beauty, and she is considered the jewel of the village. She was exploited and exposed by the foreign photographer when she was renowned for beauty, and was desired by many of the men in the village. Because of this, she was considered the jewel of the beauty, because of her of the village, because of her beauty. So before this a photographer thing, she was completely adhere to her traditions, but later on she got confused because she knew she was beautiful. She was aware of the fact, and she was egoistical because of this fact. but no matter, she was considered the jewel. And in other perspective we can say that Africa is considered as the jewel. Africa can be seen as the jewel by the Britishers or by the colonizers, because there were many things, Africa, there are many rich resources in Africa that can make one person wealthy, like the ivory, the jewels, many things. So in one perspective we can see it like this. So the second one is the lion. Lion is the Baroka, the chief of the village, and despite his age, he was still like sexually active and still considered manly. So he was passionate, and because of his passion, he was aggressive, and because of his passionate, aggressive nature, he is named as the lion. And Baruka was searching for a new wife, and won over Shidi with his manly ways. So Baruka is compared to an African symbol for strength, the lion, which could be comparable to our bear. As by why bear? Because Baruka, he raped he raped the city, and he was quite ill mannered person. He was not civilized person. So instead of naming one thing, instead of naming, giving him the symbol of strength, we can also say that he was quite uncivilized person or ill mannered person. So it can also be present in another perspective. We can say that the lion, the title is given to him, one, because of the strength, and second, in another perspective, because he was animalistic in nature. And he always finding his benefit in every situation. Although he was the leader of the tribe, but he was always looking for personal benefits and personal purposes in everything, instead of thinking about the greater good, or instead of having the utilitarian approach, he was just looking for his own benefits. Next is Lakunle. Lakunle represents the influence of Western society in the village. So he was taught in a Western style manner, and he tries to promote those ideas in the minds of his hometown villagers. He was the depiction of Western culture, as he studied in the Western school. He got a Western education, and he was quite different from Baroka. He wanted to implement Western ideas in his village, so that his people may progress, so that this village may progress. So that is the difference between Baroka and Lakunle. Lakunle is the Western symbol basically in this, who depict the Westernization, who depicts Western style in the work, in this play or drama. And Sidi and Baruka, not Sidi exactly, but Baruka, he represents the traditional style. He represents the traditional ways of Yoruba, and Lakunle represents the modern ways or westernized culture, by in his ways, in his outfit, and in his talk as well, in his use of language. So the next one is the railroad. Railroad is quite important in this work, because it does depict one thing. It depicts, that is the modernization, and it was mentioned in the known like the known part of the work. So the railroad would have connected the village to the capital city of Lagos, and allowing for trade, travel, and exposure to the cosmopolitan ways of life. But Baruka, who was strictly adhered to his traditions, he just bribed the developers to move the railroad elsewhere, and thus ensuring that his village maintains its traditional practices and mindsets. So they will look into it deep when we'll talk about the conflict, as Baruka, as in although he was preserving the traditional ways of his village, but he was also finding his own personal benefit by doing this. So too many villagers, including Lakunle, it seems that Baruka rejects all forms of modernization, but in reality he rejects modernization that he doesn't benefit from. He wasn't against modernization, but he was against that kind of modernization which doesn't bring him any personal benefit. So that is why he just bribed the developers, and he just stopped them to for making railroad. So this shows how the powerful manipulative their position, whether they are embracing tradition or technology. So one is not better than the other when corrupted by greed. So the next one is stamps. Postage stamps, specifically the ones that Baruka plans to print featuring Sidi's photograph, are a symbolic of most effective way, at least in Soyinka's opinion, for Africa to modernize. Like unlike railways or unions, which Baruka sees being forced on him, stamps and the development of a postal system represents a way of embracing their progress and modernity without completely appending or forsaking in the village's current way of life. So stamps are a modern way, Western invention, but they are also something that Baruka can use on his own terms. They will allow him to dictate how, when and how much this village progresses, Yoruba village progresses. It was this kind of Western progress that was benefiting Baruka in his personal ways, for his personal benefit, and he used that technology. Otherwise, as I mentioned earlier, he was only in the favor of those kind of progress and those kind of technologies which can benefit him personally. So the postage stamps could benefit him personally, because it helped him. It can help him in convincing Sidi for marrying him, and he seduced Sidi by showing her postage stamps and saying that he will print his many pictures. So yeah, and as he thought, Sidi got trapped in it, and it helped him. So such kind of progress or such kind of technological progress was not harm to Baruka. And we can also say that he was determining that how much his village can progress, and how and when and where it should progress, and when and where it shouldn't, as the railroads railroads cannot give any kind of personal benefit to Baruka. Instead, it may harm her or threaten her, threaten his repute or his power in the village. So the next one is the photographs or the magazine. The magazine that the stranger brings to the village feature photographs of the village and its residents, including 3 full pages showing images of Sidi. So while Sidi was the village ballet long before the magazine arrived, the magazine becomes the literal source of her power over the course of the play. As the particularly since it depicts her her beauty prominently while insulting Baruka by including only a small picture of him next to Latrin. So, however, when even though the magazine seems to suggest that CD is more powerful, but into then the Baroka, the village leader, the magazine also turns CD into a literal object that can be consumed, used, and distributed by others. As while posting her picture on the magazine, no one asked her that whether she wants to get posted or not. So the magazine then is a symbolic of women existence in the Yoruba. So even when women believe they are gaining power, they are still seen as objects to be consumed and controlled by others. So the misconception that magazine gave to Sidi that she is now more powerful than the Baroka. I'm really sorry that I'm just continuously mixing he or she, his or her. I'm really sorry about that. So please excuse it. So the photograph has but she didn't realize that although she is got posted, but she is still under the control. That if a person posted her picture on the magazine, that person can also erase her picture. It doesn't give her any kind of power or any kind of prominence in the society. But she was just misconceived the idea. So and Baruka just. So now we move on to the bride price. Bride price is, I already told you that bride's price is a symbol, as it is a custom, but it is a symbol for the bride. It depicts her chastity and her virginity. So the bride price represents the village's custom, which Lukunle feels are barbaric, and Sidi's reluctance to wed without the bride price also represents her pride. So without a bride price, she believes that she would be considered deflowered. Means no one will respect her. No one will consider her as the chastised or the virgin person. So that is why he wanted Lakunle to pay her bride price. So the Sadiku, Broka's first wife. Sadiku represents the initiation of Broka's deceitful plan to win over Sidi. So she symbolizes the trickery as well, and gossipy woman who cannot hold her tongue, basically. And the next one is the wrestling or the drums. It is also a symbol, and wrestling it shows their strength, and drums it shows the when it is a tradition that whenever there is any kind of celebration or announcement, they beat drums, and the wrestling both take place in the Baruka's house when Sidi enters, and are used to reinforce Baruka's established masculinity, which he hires in order to rape Sidi. So it also represents Baruka's you may say the trickery, and his masculine side, and his power. So the next one is the statue of Baruka. Is the statue, why do we make statues of the leaders? Because of their reputation. We don't make statue of every leader, but the leader who is worthy of it. Baruka, apparently he was worthy, but inwardly he was not. So the distinctions indicate that the statue of Baruka is well endowed, which associates the statue with Baruka's power and virility, since it derives power from his ability to have sex with his wives and father children. Many wives and concubines and father many children actually. So, however, the statue doesn't appear in the play before Sadeku finds out that Baruka's manhood is gone. She uses the statue to mock Baruka's inability to perform sexually, to mock his impotence. So it turns Baruka into a joke and an object basically. So by reducing Baruka to a literal object, the women of the play experience a sense of power and autonomy. This is a shame, however, Baruka is still able to perform like a manliness. He is not impotence. Which he reveals when he rapes Sidi. So thus the statue is indicative of women place in Yoruba society. Women are treated as living, breathing objects, and the only time they can they can experience power over men is when the men are reduced to actual objects. So however, that power is an illusion. So you may notice that when she didn't have any power, Sadeku didn't have any power except over the other wives, but in society and over Baruka she didn't have any. So when she thought that Baruka is impotent and she mocked, it means women can only have power in the society when men are considered as object, but that is just an illusion. It isn't a reality. So this is all about the symbolism, and now I will move on to the clash, that is the major clash that is present in the Lion and the Jewel. I have already described that what kind of clashes are, like the personal, racial, internal or international and class conflicts and caste, religious conflicts. There are many conflicts that are present in our society. But the conflict that is quite prominent in the Lion and the Jewel, that is the tradition versus modernity. So there is a constant confrontation between tradition and modernity. And Soyinka published the play in 1959 when Nigeria was struggling for independence under the British rule basically. So the modernity, basically the modernity is the influence of British culture during 1940s to 1950s on the Nigerian ways of life. So it is basically that is basically the modernity, and the tradition to Nigeria's traditional Yoruban culture. So the main characters of the play of the drama, the Sidi, Lakunle and Baruka, they all exhibit internal and external conflicts with modernity and tradition. So the battle between Baruka and Lakunle for Sidi's hand in marriage is the main plot of the play, and that reveals a confrontation between their two ways of life. So with Western civilization influence advancing into the Soyinka's Nigeria, this village school teacher Lakunle, he has become more fond of modern ways of life, like Western ways of life, and wants the village to progress, to back away the traditions and to move towards the progress. So this task is not made easy because villagers, they refuse to put aside their Yoruban culture, and the village ballet Sidi and the village ballet Baruka, they stand for tradition basically. And in European culture, the ballet is the popular, attractive, most attractive girl amongst all in the village, and the ballet is the ruler or the chief. So Baruka, Sidi and Lakunle, they all have their modern and traditional standards, but they don't hesitate to use each to their own advantage. So the confrontation between the European tradition and the modern civilization is quite evident in through the characters, plot, and the structure of the drama. So the play's most modern and westernized character, that is the Lakunle, a school teacher, who is determined to rid himself and others around him of traditional ways of life. So in the opening scene of the play, when Lakunle shows desire for modernity in his initial request of Sidi, like when he tried to share her burden. So in the opening scene, when he says to Sidi that let me take it, seizing a pail of water that Sidi was holding, and this is basically the Lakunle's way of being the modern gentleman. So and relieving Sidi of her heavy load, as the most gentlemen would do today. So they're trying to break the tradition of a woman task. Basically, he was trying to do that. And he also goes on to request her hand in marriage as Western would, but he will not pay the bride price. So his rejection of the traditional bride price is another part of his modern ways. And although he is madly in love with Sidi and offers her a Western monogamous marriage, but Lakunle justifies his refusal to pay the bride price, saying that to pay the bride price would be to buy a heifer of the market stall. So Lakunle, he uses or abuses the traditional traditions or traditional ways in accordance with his own needs and situation, because he was unable to pay the bride price. So he adopts a misinformed Western attitude towards bride price, partially because of his bad economic condition. So the Lakunle's westernized and modern form of courtship is constantly shot down by Sidi's desire to be traditional. So Sidi exhibits her traditional views in her rejection of Lakunle's many modern advances towards her. As when he tried to share her burden, and she rejected, and she denies Lakunle's request to carry the pail for her, because she was also aware of his inner motives. And when he asks her to marry without the bride price, she makes it clear to him that her declination of his marriage proposal is based solely on his refusal to pay the bride price, because she thought that in that situation she would not be she said that if you won't pay my bride price, then I won't marry you. Like, I won't like to be a cheap bowl for village to spit in. So that is what she thought. Although Sidi can initially be characterized as a traditional village ballet, but her character is to be re-examined when she learns of her own beauty. But when the incident of the magazine or the photograph happened, so with the European technology, coming into the village. So a glossy picture of Sidi has been published on the cover and throughout a magazine. So this gives her egos a big boost and make her traditional platform a little shaky. So that is why I said in the previous lecture that Sidi was not purely traditional. She was confused between both, between the modern ways and the traditional ways. So after the publication of the picture, the Baruka he also like wanted to also sends marriage proposal to Sidi, and she refuses by saying that he is too old. So she doesn't look marriage as a convenience, but more as her being famous and happier without man. So Baruka portrays himself as a strictly traditional urban ruler and is determined to keep his village the same way, but he later reveals his transition into modernity. How? First, when there were the people came for the railroads, he just denied this, and he just Dullah Kunle and Baroka, they fight for Sidi's love, displays another confrontation between tradition and modernity. Between the two of them, the Sidi has to choose between having a modern or traditional marriage. So Lakunle's refusal to accept tradition causes modernity to falter. So Sidi responds to one of his many proposals, stating, I shall marry you today, next week, or any day you name, but my bride price must first be paid. So this is an obvious indication that if Lakunle will only stuck to the traditional bride price, the modern man could have had his bride. So his choice for modernity leaves the door open for Baroka to enter. So knowing the rules of tradition and using Sidi's ego against her, Baroka knows that if he can seduce Sidi, she will not have a choice in marrying him, because she will no longer be a maid or a virgin. So this is the battle which causes tradition to triumph over the modernity. So not only is there an external conflict between tradition and modernity, but there is also an internal conflict in all the three characters. Or each of these characters, they use both traditional and modern ways to their own advantage and their own convenience. Like they manipulate these the tradition and modernity. So Lakunle here adopts his misinformed, Western attitude due to the fact that as a school teacher he cannot afford to pay Sidi's bride price. So in the middle of the play, Sidi's internal conflict is revealed as well. When she is offered the position of being Baroka's youngest wife, she chooses Lakunle's modern ideas about being property. By saying that he seeks to have me as his property, where I must fade beneath his jealous hold. So although she is traditional maiden, she has absorbed the modern idea of not becoming Baroka's property. So Baroka's internal conflict is revealed in his use of the stamp machine, which is a Western innovation basically. So he uses his technology to persuade Sidi to be with him. So Baroka promises Sidi that he will have her face placed on the village stamp, which he knows will appeal to the Sidi's new egoistical character. So he just manipulated the modern way or technology for his own purpose, as I also mentioned in the symbols, all these things. So To conclude, we can say that the structure of this play is characterized by the conflict between tradition and modernity as well. So this Soenka, he embedded his European tradition throughout the play, which creates some minor conflict with one of the characters. So in the morning scene of the play, while Sidi and Lakunle are talking, a number of dancers and drummers begin a traditional mime and dance. So the dancers, they begin to chant and whirl around Lakunle, trying to encourage him to participate. So in his attempt to break free from the tradition, Lakunle doesn't want to participate in the play. So but they finally wear him down with their chanting and dancing. So this dance is basically also the dramatization of women celebrating and mocking the fact that Burqa is important. So Burqa's head wife Sadiko joins in with dance where women are dancing and around the comic statue of the Burqa, taunting him. So the confrontation of modernity and tradition is incorporated through all the components of Soenka's drama. Like Lakunle and Burqa display the external conflicts in their battle for Sidi's love. So the characters also display internal conflicts when they use both tradition and modernity to their own advantage. Furthermore, the overall plot and the structure of the play are indications of this constant conflict. So although this conflict is not only the theme of the play, Soenka thoroughly incorporates the theme of the tradition and modernity in this work. So that is basically that is the prominent clash that is present in the tradition, so in the work, as tradition versus modernity, or you can also call it the cultural clash. The traditional culture is the European culture, while the modern culture is the Western culture. So you can also call it the cultural clash, or the tradition versus modernity. It can both it can fall under the category of both clashes. I have also put references in this from where you can check, and from where you can also collect data on your own. So to sum up, we can say that in the today's lecture we have we discussed about the symbols that are pretty much also depict they also depict the clash of tradition and modernity, or you may say the cultural clash, the European culture or the Western culture. So this is all these are the things that are present in this work. One thing you may observe is that Soenka was not he was neither appreciating both culture nor depreciating them. He was just being neutral towards both. He was not giving importance to the Western culture, or neither giving importance to Western culture nor giving importance to the Western culture. And although on the other hand, Achebe, he gave importance to the Igbo culture over the Western culture.